So, government devices that certain branches of the military have access to. Again, we can't buy bombs in regular stores, grenades, tanks, missiles, automatic weapons, things that are used in war. And certain devices, certain advances, certain permissions are granted to those personnel that work for certain departments of the government. If civilians can get control of these devices, it still will be through the use of the person that has been assigned these devices through their professions. And the last time I checked, there is no war going on inside of Sunday's head outside of the war that has been created by technology warfare, on top of spiritual warfare. On Pilar Santos 7399 and on YouTube, Pilar Santos, Facebook, both, there are evidence that has been placed there. There's evidence that's there of spiritual practices of some sort being used. My family and I, again, have been separated, and intelligent equipment has manipulated the fuck out of me during the whole time, to the point I am blaming any and everybody, not trusting of anybody, and suspecting people for malicious behavior, for wrong intent, for a purpose that is an advantage for the devices that are illegally recording me to be able to obtain once in proximity to certain people that I feel were paid to assist, to help. And police were aware and there, and information was allowed to be provided to them for whatever reason. So I'm not going to bash the police or get any defamation of character charges. Anything that I can say, I can back it up. I am pleading on behalf of my life, my soul, my brain, my heart, and the injustices that are done unto me, that it gets in the hands of somebody that may be familiar with these spiritual practices or devices that are in use, and they can assist me from a different way. Because as far as the Bibb County Police Department, again, I'm not receiving adequate help for a law-abiding citizen never have been arrested or having a record. So, in 2018, Officer Reed was called to my residence. And the reason he was called is because of a family dispute involving me and a relative that did not stay there. And this relative was provoking me. This relative was coming at me different ways that was outside of her normal behavior. Because she is my elder, I have respect for my elders. I'm not going to hit them back. I'm not going to physically make contact with them. But in 2018, in addition to being introduced to a government aerial aircraft that has had access to my system, my brain, my heart, my energy since 2018, I have a blood relative that came to my house and went bonkers crazy. And she was trying to provoke me to attack her, and I would not do it. And so what happened is police were called, and a stalking order was taken out on me. I went to court, and of course, I can't be a stalker if I'm at my residence, and this relative was attacking me. But this relative was putting all of the blame on me, and nothing was happening to what this relative was doing to me. So I removed myself for behavioral mental vacation, where I voluntarily checked myself in because I was being attacked to the point where I did not want to respond and end up in jail for elderly abuse. And during that time, my relative had contacted the police and the courthouse and was able to obtain them to serve me with a stalking order. The issue was she wanted to illegally evict me with power of attorney of whatever documentation that she was having for a property that had not yet been made known that it would be hers, because the property was willed to me. Neither here nor there, not going to get into that. So at the same time, this aerial aircraft has hijacked my energy. And I believe it is government because, again, we can't go in regular stores. And by this being a civilian, I have the police also being integrated in my energy and serving me with documentations and also coming out for assistance in other matters that they were needed. Okay? So I was served because of being attacked by a relative that did not stay there, that had ulterior motives from stealing the house that me and my brother are living in, and also my trust fund and my brother's trust fund when we were 13 and 17 years old, recently shy of 2 months of my mother's death. And she is attached to federal connections and police connections and government. But again, the proof of the abuse that I am going through, that I can prove without defamation of character, is going to be the names that I mention. It's going to be the situations that I talk about. Because from the Bibb County Police to my relatives that have connections to the police department and assistance with them in a different realm, because if somebody jumps your homegirl or your homeboy, you get your homeboys and your homegirls and y'all go ride on them, right? And these could be the people in the gang, people in the street, people in your neighborhood, people you fuck with. When you're fucking with a government official and they call their homeboys or homegirls on you, then you're going to get a different type of weaponry. You're going to get a different type of drive-by. You're going to get a different type of response to them looking out for their folks. But see, the thing is, I have not done any injustices. Again, I don't have a police record. So the assistance that is being sought here from these government officials, if this is not a civilian that has gotten their hands on equipment that should not be allowed for civilian land, is the problem that they have with me based off what they've done to me for my money being stolen from me at an early age. And I'm talking about over $500,000, not even going to get into that. To the assistance that individuals in my family have with the police department of Bibb County, providing them adequate assistance for their illegalities and their version of where I should be placed, where I should live, and my mental stability. I have been, again, represented on a platform where I am not able to physically, but yet through the use of devices, I am being represented and forced into orchestrated fuckery by government, about some hood niggas that know the government in my energy. But again, I should not be under investigation, and there is no judge that would have issued a warrant 7 years ago for Sunday Monique Solomon Davis's brain to be hijacked by any aerial aircrafts. Okay? Now, if somebody's going to practice into the dark side, the spiritual side, there's good, there's bad, there's light, there's dark. Understanding the spiritual side involves you being aware of both sides of the fence, not just God and the good and the light. You must also have understanding and awareness of the dark, of the evil, so that you may overcome and overpower the enemy in those days, and you be able to stand against his attacks. Okay? And the spirits work through the flesh. We do not wrestle against flesh and blood. We wrestle against spiritual rulers in high places, spiritual rulers and practitioners of darkness, okay? So we have a good spirit and bad spirit, and they all operate up high. They're not up under our feet. The devils and the demons, no. They come from a higher place, a higher influence, and we are influenced by these spirits that are able to reach and connect through our family members, through our friends, through the people we acquaint with, through that spirit, through that attachment, just to be able to get to you. My reputation has been remixed. My reality as I was with my children, with my family, has been remixed. And I have been under the scrutiny, under the control, under the adherence of a device to be able to utilize my privacy, my voice, my truth, their wrongdoings against me, to benefit them from not having to attest to this in the end. And that's not going to happen. So, again, in 2018, I was able to call the police for assistance. Okay? I have their incident cards. This is the same year that an aerial aircraft just dropped out of the sky. Doom, doom, doom. What judge judges that? If that aerial aircraft had never frequented my property when I was in the backyard throwing away diapers at night, my brain, my heart, my mental, this abuse that I'm going through would never have happened. I do not believe I would have been separated from my children, because there is nothing that I would have cognitively did, consciously did, or being aware that me being in the wrong of doing this would cause the removal of my children or my family. So this is some underhanded bullshit where evidence has been allowed to be used against me, discrediting me, and decisions made on behalf of evidence that was orchestrated, determining, again, my outcome, my reality, the remixed version, so that I'm presented as crazy. I'm presented as this. So when the truth, or if the truth can come out, if my brain and heart can make the abuse that they are inducing on me, then it would have been my fault. And again, we're not going for that. So, had to call a police officer again in 2019 for people trespassing. I'm hearing people come in the yard or whatnot, call the police again. Up until that point, it's not where bias or favoritism or an influence from someone within the police department having conversations with their coworkers about me in regards to me and how they should deal with me, where behavior differentiated between our relationship when I call them and they would show up. So now in 2021, there was a property purchased next door to me. This property had been vacant for decades. It had been owned, but through a share of tax deed sale, the property was obtained. Okay? I truly believe that this property was used to collect evidence on me with these forced conversations that had made its way to Sunday's brain. I'm at home. Okay? This is 3 years after an aerial aircraft. Example that I gave for this aerial aircraft is DARPA. Decided to bless me with his presence. Now, if you're going to make contact with a human in your aerial aircraft, you must be in an area that is designated for aircraft to depart and to land. And it's going to be labeled. You must be up under some type of pavilion, some type of sheltering, some type of covering due to defective equipment. You don't want a propeller to detach itself from the aerial aircraft and harm you by hitting any part of your body. So if you're going to be around aerial aircraft, landing, departing, then there's going to be a sign, there's going to be an area for your safety so defective equipment won't harm you. And you must be aware of what's going on as well. When we go to the airport, they have it separated, designated in different functionings, right? Baggage claim, check-in, depart, right? Wait over, whatever it is. They have different segments, but you go to the airport, you get your luggage checked in, you get your ticket, you get certified, you go through, and you go to the airline that you are going to be traveling with. And you wait until they start calling for passengers. And then you go in line. You go through from the airport to the plane. That area is designated. It is labeled. So people coming in to have a flight to be on board are not going to park where the airplanes are parked because they about to be on the airplane. A lot of accidents, a lot of injuries, a lot of deaths could occur if there was not a separation of space that was designated for certain functionings to happen. Okay? So again, aerial aircraft shows up at my address, in my backyard, in my privacy, because somebody else discussed with this aerial aircraft vehicle me and told them where I stayed, gave them a description of me to the point when I'm walking outside to throw away trash at night. Drop on down, hey, and moonwalk back up in the sky. I don't know nothing. 3 years later, I'm sitting in the kitchen and there is no TV on. I don't have my phone. There's no noise. It's quiet in there. And in my ear, beep, 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 beep. What the fuck was that? Same year, 2021, September, the house next door to me becomes occupied, but not with residents or tenants, with the ability of a house being available for whatever. Now, I'm there with my twins. The other kids are in school. Husband is at work. And I am being recorded. I am being mentally abused. Conversations are being induced in my head. And so I am responding to my children, who were twins with 3 at the time, and these devices. Now, my children, 2 3-year-olds, had enough sense to know that I was not talking to them. They would be like, who bothering you? The bullies? The bullies? They know I was not talking to them. But if I was being recorded, then they were recording me with my children and the abuse of their devices that were forcing conversations in my head to the point you cannot make yourself not think. You can clear your mind, but if something is on your mind and you keep dwelling on it, it's in your head. You hear your thoughts. This device has the ability, on top of my thoughts, on top of what I think, what I'm doing, what I'm reading, what I am having going on in my personal privacy, my brain, my head, my thoughts. Now I have the addition, thanks to a device without my permission, of another conversation where my brain has been made to be a radio station. In the top 9 and 8 are the conversations that are being put in my head. So now I'm focusing on what I'm doing, and then I have the distraction of this. And then a house next door that had been purchased, that had been utilized for people to go in and out of the back door for some reason. Now, 3 years after that, where my kids at? Oldest son, graduation, I wasn't a part of. And I have nothing in place telling me why. But I have a whole bunch of fuckery that was done to my family, to my husband, to my children, and to me, which is why I am putting this out here publicly, because a set up injustice for what was done is not cool with me. Fuck they set up. Fuck their evidence. Fuck their badge. Fuck their equipment. Mama bears don't take heed to this type of bullshit. Now again, the fuckery of the police had not yet become prevalent. But yet it was definitely in the mix. Part 4 coming up.